it provides it provides structure and organization in your daily life. So building a routine is the second, or to build a routine, it's the second you wake up. So the moment you open your eyes is when your day started. And what thinking about what's the first thing you do? What's the first thing you do when you wake up? Is it you check your phone? Is it you go brush your teeth? You go to the bathroom? You make a cup of coffee? What is it that you do when you wake up? So I hope you all have a pen and paper or something to write down these steps on how to build a routine. It's a proven fact, note takers are money makers. So the 3 steps I'm going to talk about are, the first is try one thing at a time. Don't try to do changes in your routine all at once. You're not going to become successful that way. You might not, one way that you do something might not work for you. So you have to try something else. So make small changes, make little changes. Little steps turn into a big success. So the first is try one thing at a time. The second is make a plan. Write down what it is that you want to accomplish in the day. Maybe you have a calendar. I know I have a calendar for meetings and making sure I'm organized that way, but the things I want to accomplish in the day, I write them down. A whiteboard. Everybody should have a whiteboard. I recently just got one because of how important it is to have it. Writing things down, your brain attracts that. You start to believe it. So what I do is a daily checklist. I have 6 things that I do daily that I want to achieve in the day. Some of them I will achieve in 60 days. Or some of the goals that I have are I will achieve in 90 days. And other goals that I have are, for the future that will take a little bit of time to accomplish. So like I said, first thing is try one thing at a time. Second is make a plan. And then also, to elaborate on that, I actually learned this from a speaker, a really, really successful man. He said to have 6 goal achieving activities, which I don't know if you all know what the definition of a goal means. I'm gonna look it up right now. What does it say a goal is? It says the definition of a goal. A goal is an objective or target that someone is trying to reach or achieve. So a goal is an objective or a target that someone is trying to reach or achieve. So when making these 6 achieving goal activities, it's not just, oh, I want to go to the store tomorrow and get this, or I want to walk my dog. No, these are goals that you are trying to achieve, to reach in the future. So I want, to get the chat going a little bit, I want everybody to put in the chat, 3 goals that you want to achieve tomorrow, or 3 achieving goals that you want to achieve tomorrow. And it's okay if you, when writing these goals down, what I do is I write them in the night. So before I go to bed, when I wake up in the morning, you're ready set for the day. You don't have to think about what you want to do today, what you want to achieve. They're already there. All you got to do is just follow the steps and follow to get there. And it's okay if you don't finish or accomplish all of the goals. That just means that now tomorrow, you say you only get four goals done. Well, then tomorrow now you have 8 because you didn't finish 2 of them. And that's okay. But that doesn't mean that, no, I'm gonna write them down, but if I don't achieve them, that's okay. I'll just do them tomorrow. No, you want to at least make a step to achieve the goals. So like I said, first, try one thing at a time. Second, make a plan. And then the third is to reframe your thinking. Reframe your thinking, which means, you want to improve your self-image. You have 2 images. First is the one that you see in the mirror. And the second is an inner self image. So this literally is controlling your life. And how you can reframe your thinking is based off of self-development. I think it's very important that everybody, not just in this industry, but everybody in the world should be doing self-development on a daily basis. It just builds you as a person. You should be doing at least 30 minutes to an hour of self-development daily. You will start to see success in your life. You will start to see growth. And that could be a lot of different things, reading. It could be, I mean, I didn't like reading. I had to start to like it. So reading, it could be podcasts, YouTube videos. It could be positive affirmations, anything that you are building towards to become more developed in the future. And the next thing that I have is believe. What do you believe? All things are possible if you just believe. So what do you believe? And how do you change a belief? How do you change a belief? Well, if you're talking with your friend and they believe one thing, and you're talking about a certain situation and you believe another thing, it's proven that you will reevaluate the belief that you have based off of what your friend believes. That means that your belief is going to change. It's more than likely going to change. So, like I said, what is it that you believe, and stick to it. So having a routine is how you build habits. That's how I'm going to wrap it up with, is having a routine is how you build habits. And it's proven that it takes 66 days to build a habit. So you could be doing your routine consistently for a month, but that doesn't mean that it's a habit yet. It takes 66 days to build a habit. So the benefits of having a routine are they form good daily habits. You're more productive. I mean, I know when I get all of my daily checklist done, all 6 things that I want to achieve in the day, I feel more productive. You feel good about yourself and you're more focused. You're more focused on what it is that you want in life. So the last thing to wrap it up is, sacrifice. Sacrifices go hand in hand with having a routine, having a habit. I know for me, I had to make for everybody on this call, you had to make a sacrifice to do the things that you wanted to do. You had to make a sacrifice for your routine. So an example I guess I could talk about is, for me, it was, I used to serve. I was a server and I would work, I guess, second shift. It would be from 5 to 11. And all of my coworkers, they were after work. They're like, oh, what are you doing after work? Let's go and drink. And I'm like, I'm going to go home and study. I'm going to actually hop on and do London session tonight. They're like, what's that? And I would tell them. They're like, that doesn't seem fun. You could come out and have fun with us. And I'm like, nah, my future is more important. I had to make a sacrifice. I had to make a sacrifice to have fun for, a few hours for my future. So I'm sure a lot of you had to make a sacrifice. So before you can make that sacrifice, though, you had to make a decision. It all starts with the decision. You have to make a decision before you can make a sacrifice. So the last thing I want to say is, how disciplined are you? How disciplined are you? What do you want, and how bad do you want it? So I'm gonna leave it at that. How bad do you want it? I know I want it bad, so let's get it. But okay, so that's all I gotta say about routines and how it's important to build a routine. So the next person that's going to be speaking, Lupita is going to take over, and she's just going to talk about how the system can make or break. It can make or break how you finish your goals. So Lupita, take it away, girl.
Thank you, Allie. I hope everybody's taking notes. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So like Ellie said, I'm gonna be talking more about habits. I want everybody here to drop a 7 if you wrote down your goals this month. Maybe you write down your goals once a week, maybe once a month, or even once a year. But it's very, very important to write down your goals throughout the year, especially because we are changing every single day. As we self-develop, we have different goals. So I want you to understand that goals are just the results that we want to achieve. Goals are good for setting a direction. So when you get in your car, do you just drive, or do you have a direction to where you're going? It's the same thing here. Now, systems are about the process that lead to those results, which leads to making progress. And then by creating a system and sticking to it, we need to create good habits. You see how everything just like flows into having good habits. It is your commitment to the process that will determine your progress. I'm gonna say that again. It is your commitment to the process that will determine your progress. And it's very, very easy not to do what you have to do. I've done that many, many times. Instead of reading, sometimes I just want to watch TV. Instead of studying, I just want to be on my phone. And it doesn't matter how successful or unsuccessful you are right now. What matters is whether your habits are putting you in the path towards success. So think about your routine. What are you doing on a daily basis? And think about whatever you're doing right now putting you towards success. If you are struggling creating a good habit, do not focus on what you want to achieve, but focus on who you want to become. You might want to be an educator here one day. You want to be a good trader. You want to be a great leader, or you want to be a fitness coach, whatever it might be. Do you think you're doing the same thing that a good trader is doing, that a leader is doing? Are you putting the same time to learn? If you want to be successful, you have to do what successful people are doing. So having or forming a good habit isn't done overnight. It takes time. All you have to do is not give up. And remember that small improvements versus massive action. So 1% a day may not be noticeable. You might think it's nothing, but in the long run, you'll see the results. So habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. So let's do some math here. 1% better each day for 1 year will end up being 37 times better by the time that you're done. And it's the same thing for the opposite. So if you do 1% of errors day after day, it compounds into a toxic result. Or even if you do nothing, it's gonna be 0. So some people make a few small changes, and once they fail to see results, they stop doing them. For example, if you want to work out, if you want to go to the gym, you want to be fit, you're not going to see results in a month or 2 months. It might take 6 months, it might take a year. You just have to understand that it takes time. And if you have trouble changing your habits, the problem isn't you, the problem is your system, it's your routine. You have to figure out what works for you and what doesn't. You just do not quit. This is a try, fail, and try different. So that's all I have to say. The next speaker is Senna. Senna is going to dive a little bit deeper on the psychology behind the routines. So Senna, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Lupita. Amazing job. So I hope everybody's having an amazing Friday night so far. having fun, hanging out with friends, working on some goals, you know, forming some new habits that you need to start implementing into your routines. And so before I kind of dive into the deeper ideas, I want to just kind of focus on, you know, how important it is to focus on your health and your wellness, especially like implementing that into your routine. Because, you know, when you're working out, when you're eating better, when you're getting enough sleep, when you're taking care of those things and you're making sure that is a priority, you're going to see a big difference, especially in productivity, reducing stress, especially if you get stressed like me easily. And I would say even more energy throughout the day. So I know some of you, when you work out, I know some of you work out every single day. After you work out, I'm sure you realize that you might be way more motivated to jump into the next tasks. You know, sometimes before I go to the gym, I'm exhausted, but I know that I'm going to feel a lot better after the gym. And when I get home, I jump into work. It helped so much to help me get to that point. And so next I'm going to break down the 4 steps that you go through when processing information that you hear. So I highly, highly recommend that you write these down. It is from the audio, Your Wish is Your Command. And it's going to help you a lot, especially in routines, and everyday life, in the business, in trading, just with everything. So before I kind of dive into it, I want to make sure you guys are ready to write it down. So the first one is going to be unconscious incompetence. So that is when you don't know that you don't know. And I'll kind of come back and explain these with an example to make it make it a little bit simpler for you guys. And so the second one is conscious incompetence. And that's when you know that you don't know. And the third one is conscious competence. That means that you know that information. It was already taught to you. You might just have to think about it. The fourth one is unconscious competence. That's the one that we want to get to. That's the one that we want to work towards. And that's when you know and it happens automatically. It's autopilot. It's just there. You don't have to think about it, just like your name. Somebody asks your name, you shouldn't have to think about it. It's just there. You just say it. And then, so the example I kind of want to use with this is tying your shoes. When you were a kid, you didn't know that you didn't know how to tie your shoes until somebody told you. And then somebody told you and you knew, but you still didn't know how to do it until it was taught. So even though you knew, that would be conscious incompetence. You knew that you didn't know. Then you're taught how to do it and you know how to do it. You just might have to think about it. That's the conscious competence. And then the one that we want to get to is that unconscious competence. You just do it automatically. You don't have to think about how to do it. You just do it. You might not even realize you did it. Going to the gym, putting your shoes on. You just do it quick. You don't even have to, it's not even a thought. And so I kind of want to explain the 2 ways to get to that point, to that unconscious competence, because it's extremely important. You'll see your leaders doing it. I mean, I was talking to Jay last night and he kind of explained, like, when he gets up on stage, sometimes like he doesn't even know exactly what he talked about. It just happens. It's automatic. He knows all of that information already. He's said it so many times. He's repeated it so many times. And so that's the first way to get to that point. Doing something over and over and over again. That's why you want to implement it into your routine. You want it to become a habit. How do you make habits? By doing things over and over and over again. And then the other way that you could get to that level, that unconscious competence level, is by observing someone else do it. Like your mentors, your leaders. You want to have leaders and mentors that have what you want. You want to get to that level. And so how you're going to get to that level is doing those things that they are doing, watching what they're doing, talking to them. Reach out to your leaders every day. I know leaders can be so busy, especially in a day. So make sure you take that step and reach out to them, because it's up to you. always. It's that decision that you're going to make that's going to get you to where you want to go. And so you have to be consistent with it, very consistent with it. If you're going to repeat it and do it over and over again, and if you're going to watch your mentor, listen to your mentor, talk to your leaders. So I kind of want to explain how it works, because that was the super interesting part to me too, was when you do something over and over again, you create neural pathways in your brain and they become stronger and stronger. And so you got to think about, what are you seeing every day? What are you thinking about? Who are you talking to? Who are the people that you're surrounding yourself with? What kind of audios are you listening to? What kind of books? The TV shows that you watch? Pay attention to that. Is it negative? Is it positive? Because that all has an impact on you. It's creating neural pathways already. You might not even realize. And that's okay if it has, because you can change it. It's all up to you and what you want to do, and if you want to see those goals. Because if you apply it in this kind of way, like I'm explaining, you'll see those results way quicker. But you have to apply it. And you have to make sure you're doing those steps and thinking about it, and staying present in that moment to realize that this is what I got to work on, this is what I got to do, this is what I have to focus on if I want to reach these goals and get to where I want to go. So kind of as a little recap, if you want your dreams and your desires to be a physical reality in a quicker way, the key is to get to that unconscious competence by repeating it over and over and over again. Repeat those habits, repeat what you're doing every day. Have that routine. Those routines are extremely crucial especially getting to that unconscious competence level. And if you want to get to the point where you want to go, you got to start doing this stuff. Because I've talked to many people about it, especially on my team. They have so many big goals and desires that they want, but are you doing these things every day? Do you have a schedule? Are you listening to audios, or are you just telling yourself, okay, I'm going to listen to this audio later? Maybe when I go to the gym, I'll listen to this. Oh, on my drive to the gym, I'll listen to it. But are you actually? Or are you thinking about something else in your head and not actually paying attention to it? You got to think about all of that kind of stuff. So 2 reasons, there's actually 4 reasons on this audio, but I kind of want to highlight 2 of them. The first one, that the 2 reasons that people fail to become successful is low willingness to accept change. That is the first one. So what are you doing every day? Are you going and hanging out with your friends? Are you going out on the weekends? Is it actually helping you? Because if you're not going to make a change, a lot of people don't want to change their ways and what they're doing. They're just like, yeah, I'll get there. I'll reach my goals. But they're not going to make a change in their life. So how are you going to get to that point? What are you going to do to get there? It's all up to you. And then the second reason why people fail to become successful is because they're not spending enough time at that conscious competence level to develop new neural pathways to get to that unconscious competence level. You have to spend time on it. You can't just, think it's going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. Just like Aaliyah and Lupita said, it's going to take time to form habits. It takes time. You have to repeat it over and over and over again to get to that point. And so I also want to kind of explain how important books are, because for me, I actually did not like reading books. I hated reading books. I wouldn't really pay attention to the books, especially in high school, when you would have to, and middle school and elementary school, but you would have to read a book, especially in English class, for the first 15 minutes of the class. I'd put my phone in the book and just go on my phone. I'd just be scrolling on Instagram. I'd be playing Candy Crush. I'd be playing a bunch of games on my phone. I didn't care. But the reason that these teachers push it is actually so important, and it can help you for your entire life. And so books allow our brains and our imaginations to be utilized to create images, sights, sounds, smells through the power of our imagination, which then creates neural pathways even faster than physical observation with our eyes. That's why leaders are readers. If you want to get to that point, leaders are readers. Read a book. Justin, Colby, Jay, Josh, they've all sent a ton of books that are really good to read in the chats. ask them too. Ask your leaders, what's a good book that I should start? What's a good book that I can, start reading and implementing into my routine? Or an audio, what kind of audios do I need to listen to? Let your imagination take care of it. But with all that, I am complete unless I need to, talk about anything else again. If I need to explain it over again, does anybody have any questions on that? All right, I think we are good. I'm gonna pass it over to Colby now.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Guys, can we go ahead and drop some threes in the chat for these women? Let's drop some threes in the chat for these women. That is absolutely amazing, amazing advice. I don't want to take away any shine from any of these women that just absolutely demolished this call, but I do want to point out one thing. If you look at every single one of these women, their main focus in every single one of their talks was what? You need to change the way that you are doing the things you're doing on a daily basis. If you want things in your life to change, some things in your life need to change. So with that, thank you guys all for hopping on the call. These women absolutely crushed it, and we will see you guys again next week.